Welcome back to Sports on Tap. We are live at C's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road, Hinckley, Ohio. It does border 4 cities, Brunswick, Stronsville, North Royalton, and Hinckley.
Oh, it never gets
You know
old.
what, Ed? No one
Never
ever
gets
laughs
old.
on his intros. Meanwhile, he's like,
Yeah, Ed's facial expression just get
Oh, I bet. I'm purposefully not looking into the mirror so I don't have to look on myself talk. Sports on Tap, we are part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. You can catch us on Mixler at Sports on Tap. At Sports on Tap Podcast is our Twitter handle. Also on Facebook. We're all over the place here, folks. I'm here with Josh Jeffy, Rob Troutman, and
yes, you are.
Sean Duffy. Gentlemen, we are in Week 11, otherwise known as Week 1 of the second season, the playoffs.
playoffs?
And we've provided in-depth coverage of the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Southwestern Conference, and the Suburban League National, American, and National Divisions. We're going to quickly run through the brackets, the regional brackets for each of the applicable regions, starting in Division 1, Region 1. And we have a couple of teams here representing both the Greater Cleveland Conference and the Suburban League National Division here.
Mm-hmm.
We will start first with the – oh, boy, they really messed this up on the website. Good job, State of Ohio.
Uh-oh.
The number 1 seed, the aforementioned Greater Cleveland Conference champion Solon Comets. They will host number 8, Canton Glen Oak at Solon High School. A little bit of change this year. Division 1 is now on Friday nights. Their games will start at 7:30. The number 2 seed is St. Ed's. They will take on Euclid, and as we talked about before, that's a spotlight game for us here.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
We will be at First Federal Stadium in Lakewood, Ohio. Going to cover that game. Number 3, Stowe Monroe Falls. They are the co-champions of the Suburban League National Division. They will host Canton McKinley, the Bulldogs of Canton McKinley Sr. And then the 4-5 matchup, St. Ignatius taking on Massillon Jackson. That game will be at Byers Field Friday night, as they normally play their home games there. So we got a pretty solid bracket here, guys. When you get down to it, Josh, you got Solon and Glen Oak, and you have Eds and Euclid. What do you think about those two games, just based on what you know about your own teams?
Well, Solon, which is surprising. I mean, Division 1, Region 1 is, big boys league there. And for a team like Solon to capture that number 1 seed overall, that's a big deal. We saw them firsthand last week when they went up against Medina. They're going up against a pretty difficult Canton Glen Oak team, but I think Solon's going to be able to go through this one relatively unscathed, especially if Thomas Wilkes is running the ball like he did last week against Medina. When it comes to Euclid and St. Ed's, obviously we all know St. Ed's and what they bring to the table. Euclid had a very good year with some really good victories. Do they have enough manpower against St. Ed's? I tell you what, Coach Roski, if he can get Euclid playing on a high level, they could sneak this one in. But they got a real tough matchup coming up tomorrow against St. Ed's.
Yeah, and I think with that number 3 and number 6 matchup with Canton McKinley and Stowe Monroe Falls, I think that's a Stowe's got their hands full with Canton McKinley. Canton McKinley was 6-4 on the year. Stowe had a great year at 9-1, but I feel like Canton McKinley, they could be pretty tough. And we know about Massillon Jackson a little bit, 7-3. They're the number 5 seed. Ignatius 9-1. To be a 4 seed for St. Ignatius, that's a little surprising, and
This is what
they're going to be tough.
I look at this bracket particularly, and I think it's kind of a I think it's what in the medical field a false positive. I think St. Ed's and St. Ignatius are essentially a 4 and a 3 seed, right? Yeah, 4 and 3, because of the fact that they don't get a lot of computer points during the regular season. So if they slip up, You know what I mean? Like if they run the table, obviously they're going to be number one, probably number two in the region. But the fact that they have to play out of state teams and those are really good teams and they fall down and they don't get the opportunity like Solon to basically accumulate computer points. Not to say Solon's not deserving of number one seed. We don't know that. I just think the two X factors here are St. Ignatius and St. Edward because again, the way every team that has computer points, is afraid, it doesn't want to schedule them for whatever reason. And I never understood that. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? So I think this is one of those regions where, Solon may be at the top, but I guarantee you the coaching staff at Solon is not thinking that St. Ignatius, St. Ed aren't good enough to be in one of the top two teams in that region.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Duff, and that's where we'll move on to the Division 1 Region 2. With that in mind. So with Division 1 Region 2, out of all of our conferences, we only have one team representing the coverage bandwidth that we have, and that's going to be Medina. Mm-hmm. They are the number 5 seed. They're going to travel to Toledo to take on Whitmer. Also in this region, we have a battle of the Olentangies. Olentangy Orange, 6-4. The number 8 seed will travel to Olentangy Liberty, the number 1 seed at 10-0. Also, Findlay, 7-3. They're the number 7 seed. They will travel to Dublin to take on Dublin Jerome, the number 2 seed at 9-1. And then we also have Olentangy Lewis Center Olentangy.
Okay.
They are 7-3, the number 6 seed. They're going to travel to Lorraine, the champions of the Lake Erie League. They are 8-2, the number 3 seed. Josh, what do you think about Medina in Whitmer?
Well, I think Medina's a little disappointed that this game was not at home. That last loss against Solon put them number 5, so they do have to travel to Whitmer, and I think that's going to be a tough game. If this was a home game for them, I would say, okay, now they're in business. Not to say that Medina can't win this game, but I think traveling that hour and a half to Toledo is going to make a big difference in this one. And the lack of playoff experience with Medina also could play a role. But we'll wait and see how this one goes. I wouldn't count Medina out, but being on the road, it's going to be difficult.
Whitmer's tough. They beat Toledo St. John's in their last game of the season. That's what propelled Avon Lake in the playoffs. So Whitmer, a tough team. We'll see what happens.
Well, Whitmer will throw the kitchen sink at you, too. We played them. I still remember playing them in 2007, and they gave us a pretty good run that year that we went to the state semifinals. So Medina's they definitely got to look out for onside kicks, pooch kicks. They'll throw everything at them. So that'll be a great matchup, and they have 3 Olentangies as well. We'll see what Lorraine can do. Lorraine won a very competitive
an interesting team there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a very athletic team. They always have athletic players on offense, very skilled positions, and they like to run the ball. They like to air it out a little bit too, so they're very balanced. So we'll see what happens with Lorraine.
Absolutely. And we're going to kick it over to Sean. He's going to talk about one of the Division II regions.
Absolutely. We're going to move on to Division II Region 5. Going to start off with Aurora hosting Barberton. That's the 1-8 matchup. Then moving down, we got Hudson and Copley. That's the 4-5 matchup. We have Chardon welcoming in Bedford. That's the number 2 Chardon and number 7 Bedford. And then we have finally number 3 Warren G. Harding welcoming in Brecksville Broadview Heights. And this is a pretty heavy Suburban League draw here. We have Aurora in the American League taking on another American Division foe in Barberton. As I mentioned in my recap, this is an interesting game to me because you see a team in Barberton who just made the playoffs, coming off a lot of emotion, and now they're facing a team that they know pretty well in Aurora. And as any coach will tell you, it's tough to beat a team twice in one season. Obviously Aurora is up to the challenge. We've seen both of these teams actually. And Aurora, just seems to lock it in pretty quickly. Another one that, Ed and I can talk about is a little bit is Hudson and Copley. I like Weston Bridges in this matchup, but I'm more intrigued to see Weston Bridges versus that just stout Hudson defense. I mean, that's been their calling card for the last 2 years, is being able to stop the run with authority. They're not co-champs of the division for nothing. So I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's gonna be one of the better matchups. I think it's a 4 or 5 matchup. The two teams are very evenly matched. They both have mirror records, and that's gonna be a hell of a battle at Hudson this Friday night.
And then, obviously, Chardon welcoming Bedford. I think that's going to be a pretty good matchup. Chardon's a really good team. I mean, a 10-0 team getting the 2 seed after Aurora, that's nothing to shake a stick at. And then finally, you got Warren G. You got Brecksville Broadview having to go to Warren G. Harding. I don't know. Do the Bees have a shot here? Is Warren G. Harding beatable in the sense?
Warren G. Harding's only loss is a very, very good Cardinal Mooney team.
Mm-hmm.
Any team that has Luke Sternad as your quarterback has a chance to win, though.
Okay.
And, Brecksville had a couple of stumbling blocks at the end of the year against Stowe and Hudson. It's not going to get any easier playing against Warren G. Harding. Warren G. Harding puts a lot of points up on the board. They average no less than 35, 36, 37 points a night. So it's going to have to be an offensive shootout, and Sternad is the guy to be able to do that for Brecksville. So we'll see what happens there. Brecksville has a tendency to not, they play tough teams, and they haven't been able to overcome them. So we'll see if Brecksville can do it this week. We'll shoot it over to Region 6, and this is going to be a very intensive influence for Rob over there in the Southwestern Conference.
Rob's ears are just smoking right now.
What do we got for Region 6?
Region 6, we'll look at the number 8 Avon Lake Shoremen. They're 7-3. They travel to the Lake team. Their offense is unstoppable. I mean, they have a lot of weapons. Mark Pappas likes to air it out. Tyler Nelson there to run the ball. Can they offensively just outpower Avon? And Avon's defense is really impressive. Matt Kelly, the quarterback there, Mitch Cooper, and Mason Macklem. Impressive game. I think Avon's going to be tough to beat at home. Number 7 Westlake at 7-3. At number 2 Holland Springfield, they're 10-0. Westlake offensively is impressive. They have weapons all over the place. Terrence Rose and company are going out to Holland Springfield. Again, impressive there, but the defense is going to be key to watch for number 3 Grafton Midview, 9-1. Can anybody stop Dustin Crum? Can you at least contain him? Olmsted Falls defense is pretty good. I think what Olmsted Falls needs to do here, off the clock, and keep that Midview offense off the field. And if they can do that, I think they can stay close in that game. They had a fight time. So we'll see what happens there. That's going to be an absolute great game. Number 5, Cleveland Glenville, 7-3. At number 4, White House Anthony Wayne, 7-3. Glenville, even this season, but Glenville very impressive on the year. Anthony Wayne's going to be another tough team to beat at home. But you look at Region 6 and Division 2, you have 5 Southwestern Conference teams. Good luck to all 5 of them. Obviously you have 2 games with teams from the Southwestern Conference playing each other. So it's going to be a great playoff. He wants to say something else, folks.
Just a reminder, obviously we have our friend of show in Buckeye in Region 9.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Division 3, Region 9. Buckeye is the number 4 seed. They will host 8-2 New Philadelphia. All their matchups in that region. Akron East is 7-3. The number 8 seed traveling to Alliance to take upper half of the bracket. And this is where it gets tough. And I'm glad that Buckeye's in the upper half for this region for these 2 reasons. Number 2, Akron Archbishop Hoban, 9-1. They're going to host Howland, 7-3.
Oh.
Then number 3, Dover. They are 7-3. They're going to host St. Vincent, St. Mary, 6-4. So you're going to have a potential rematch of the Akron Holy War. We'll see if Buckeye. I'm actually going to be at that game. I'm going to go view that game as a fan. Check out how our old friends from Brunswick are doing over there, and hopefully program history.
Gotta say, if Buckeye continues to play the defense they've been playing all year, they're deep into this region. And really do some damage if they continue to put out that consistent defensive effort that has been their calling card all year.
They will play different teams now, though. When it gets in the playoffs, you're facing nothing but the best. Good luck. We love talking about and giving the recaps for these high school games. It's only going to get better as the playoffs go. And actually,
yes, Division III is Saturday. That game will start at 7.
Yeah, so that'll be. Say hi to the famous Ed Dick, who's part of Sports on Tap.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Come say hi to us at Lakewood.
That's right.
Yes,
At
tomorrow.
Lakewood Stadium
Say hi.
tomorrow
Night.
Tomorrow we will be at Lid.
It's going to be fun.
All right. Very well. Gentlemen, another great show. Thank you very much for Josh Jeffy, Rob Trauman, Sean.